everyone, and welcome back. Aside from being Mr. Rubato, I'm also Mr. Way Too Many Pets. Now, my YouTube channel is only a month old at this point, and so I don't get asked too many questions by subscribers because I don't have that many. But I do have friends outside of YouTube, as hard as that may be to believe, and they say things like, Mike, your robot vacuums are really cool, but how do they get along with your pets? Or rather, how do your pets get along with them? I'm afraid my dogs will tear it apart, I'm afraid my cat will be afraid of it, or whatever the concern may be. Well, it's an excellent question, and I may be uniquely qualified to answer it, so let's meet the cast. This is Leonard. He's a border collie. He's where I get all of the pet hair from my vacuum tests. Border collies have an extremely strong herding instinct. They're basically four-legged control freaks, and Leonard is no exception. He needs to be involved in everything, he needs to take charge of everything, and he needs to make sure things happen the way they're supposed to. Up next is Brover, as in Rover. He's a rescue. He was found wandering the streets of Dallas. He's like a cartoon dog. He buries bones in the yard. I've never, ever seen a dog bury bones in the yard. I thought that was a thing that they only do on TV. So these are my birds, and they're the reason why most of my videos have to be silent all the time. On the left there is Rico Suave, and the colorful one is Smoochie. Smoochie is the loud one, the bad one. These other birds belong to my kids, and they used to be in their rooms until we realized how much dander and dust they generate, so now they're here. I also have teenagers. I don't know if teenagers qualify as pets, but they certainly don't get along well with robot vacuums for obvious reasons. We have this guy too. He's my daughter's pet. Can't really tell maybe in this video, but he's huge. The biggest cat I've ever seen. I think he weighs something like 20 pounds, and he's not really fat. He sheds a lot. Also has dandruff. And yeah, we brush him. When I first got the vacuums, he hid in my daughter's room for about a day, but he quickly got over it. He's kind of moody. Sometimes he likes me, sometimes he doesn't. So basically, he's a typical cat. Anyway, let's get back to dogs, because dogs are usually what people are concerned about when it comes to robot vacuums. As I mentioned, Leonard's a control freak, and here he is trying to make sure that the cat drinks water correctly. I mean, think of what could happen if the cat were to make a mistake. Well, Leonard's not going to let that happen, right, Leonard? Who's a good boy? On a side note, if you're considering getting a border collie, this is something you should get used to. Brover, as I said, he's skittish, so he basically stays away from the robots. Unless, of course, there's something he wants next to him. So, you might wonder, what are the others doing now that the robot is passing next to them? And the answer is nothing. They're ignoring it. They couldn't care less. Animals aren't stupid. They know that the robot is not a living thing because it doesn't smell like a living thing. When they first see it, they're curious. They walk over to it. They might be afraid of it. But they smell it and they realize this is a machine. Or not that they know what a machine is, but they know it's not alive. The birds are the only ones who really react to the robot, especially this i7, which has a really bad IR sensor in front and bumps into their cages and moves them around. But they get used to robots, so they don't make too much noise. If I get a new robot, they'll freak out. I mean, even if it's like slightly different, they're very good at spotting the differences. But once they get used to a robot, they don't really care that much. So here's the cat being very concerned by the robot. He's fascinated by it. He can't look away. His name is Chairman Meow, by the way. Forgot to mention that before. Yeah, he couldn't care less. He even lies there when the robot tries to get past him, and sometimes they'll nudge him and then maybe he'll get up. If it's one of the AI robots, they just go around him. It's funny to watch. Yeah, he just doesn't care. Cats are obnoxious that way, and this one's no exception. Yeah, he was afraid at first, but then, within a day or two, he realized also that they're not alive, and therefore not interesting. Yeah, Brover can get him to move faster than a robot vacuum can. He hates our other cat. I don't much like him either. Just sits around, does nothing useful. So about the only time Leonard is concerned with the robots is when they basically come right up to him and try to touch him. He doesn't like that. He'll back away. Border collies are bred to have a very strong prey instinct, but not to engage, meaning they don't attack. Otherwise, they'd be really bad at herding. So any confrontation, Leonard will avoid it, and the robot, coming up and touching him is a confrontation. Now, of course, all dogs are different. Brover is more of a typical dog. He doesn't really care about the robots. He'll get out of their way and avoid them, but if there's something, occupying him, like a toy that he wants to steal from Leonard, he couldn't care less. I've silenced the birds, by the way, or at least not silenced them, but made them quiet by lowering high frequencies, so that's why the sound is weird. Sometimes the cat shows some slight curiosity about the robot, but usually he just ignores it. They're too busy doing their own thing to worry about the robot, so, if you're concerned, I really wouldn't be. Unless your dog is prone to breaking things on purpose, then maybe you might have cause for concern. Anyway, you haven't properly been introduced to the appropriately named Stinky. I don't usually hold him this way, but I have one hand on the camera. Stinky doesn't usually interact with the robots because we have to keep him out of the living room, or else he'll tear a hole in the couch like he did our old one, steal things, and hide them there. Car keys, water bottles, remote controls. It's amazing what this little thing can carry. Anyway, Stinky's curious, but like all animals, he realizes that this thing is not alive, because he can smell it, so he loses interest quickly. Leonard, on the other hand, is fascinated by Stinky. He stalks him constantly. If Stinky's out of his cage and I want to find him, all I have to do is find Leonard. The cat sometimes plays with him, not usually. They used to play a lot when they were little. It's fun to watch. Brover is also interested in Stinky, and none of them are interested in robots. Again, animals, when you first get a robot, maybe, supervise your animals, make sure that they don't freak out or, attack the robot or whatever. But, they'll really quickly realize that it's not a living thing and there's nothing to worry about, and they'll just lose interest. I know that every animal's different. Not all dogs are like my dogs, although Brover is basically, as I mentioned before, a typical cartoon dog, so maybe, you could see how my animals react and at least get a baseline for how yours probably will, although, again, anything could happen. Also, I have so many robots at this point, constantly, cleaning the house, that this is a level of nonchalance that your pets might take a while to develop. Hey! Get away from my shoe, you little turd! Stop chewing it! Ugh! That's the barrier that we use to keep Stinky from tearing a hole in the bottom of our couch. I'd like to see Roborock's navigation algorithm get through that. So anyway, I hope this video has been helpful. I hope it addressed some of your concerns if you have pets and are considering getting a robot vacuum. I wouldn't worry about it. Robot vacuums are great. If you like clean floors but don't like cleaning, they're going to change your life. So please like and subscribe if you want to see more videos like this. And until next time, I'm Mike, and this is Mr. Rumbato.